Hello, everyone, and welcome to Continuing the Conversation, live from the 2012 APWA Congress Expo floor. My name is Emily Barta, and we are going to talk winter maintenance with someone who has a lot of familiarity with winter. This is Ben Jordan, and he is the Program Director at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Department of Engineering Professional Development. Ben, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to be talking about consider winter maintenance in transportation design. And as we mentioned, you have a lot of experience with winter. So talk to us, why is it really important to designate maintenance by season?
Why is it important to designate maintenance by season? There are certain things that occur in a winter operation that don't occur in the summer. If you design drainage for the summer only, you don't think about water freezing and blocking up drainage and freezing on the street. So if you just thought about summer, you would cause problems in the wintertime.
So winter does cause a lot of problems, not only because of the weather, but because of other different factors. So what street design details can cause the biggest headaches for winter maintenance operations?
Well, I think when you ask maintenance people, the first one that comes to mind is the cul-de-sac. And the cul-de-sac is something that winter maintenance people have problems with because there's nowhere to store the snow, nowhere to push the snow, and sometimes they can't even get their equipment into or around a cul-de-sac. Lately, the one we're hearing about more is the roundabout. Roundabout's kind of like a cul-de-sac with a bunch of traffic going through it, which makes it even harder because you don't have places to store snow, you have trouble getting your equipment through, and then you have traffic to battle as well.
So does anybody out there have any experience with winter maintenance or with problems or have any questions about certain challenges that they're experiencing? If so, go ahead and raise your hand. We would love to have your voice heard. And for everyone joining us from home, if you have any questions, just go down to that lower left-hand corner of your screen, click that Q&A button, and ask away or share your story. And as we all know, APWA is on Twitter. So to contribute to that conversation, be sure to utilize hashtag APWA Expo. All right, so what can we do to make street design more winter friendly?
Well, one of the first things is just to communicate. The designer needs to talk to the maintenance person needs to talk to the designer. In a small organization, that's pretty easy to do. Sometimes you're talking to yourself, sometimes you're talking to somebody down the hall. As organizations get bigger, design is a silo all by itself, maintenance is a separate silo, and the people don't talk to each other. So if you can get the dialogue going, the designer can find out from the maintenance people what details have worked well in the past or what ones have caused problems in the past. You can modify those designs. The designer can learn what equipment is being used, what are the dimensions of that equipment, can it get through the detail that they've designed, can a plow run through that street the way it's designed, and can it do it effectively?
So now, you just mentioned design.
Mm-hmm.
What about, so that's in the planning phase, that's in a new project. What about in existing conditions or existing projects? Is there anything you can do to adjust something that's already been built?
Well, it's always easier to deal with it on paper than it is to do it out on the road. There are always things you can do as a retrofit. You can eliminate obstacles. Sometimes people think all a plow has to do is just plow the pavement. There's another part of plowing a street that involves making space for the next snow, which involves it's called benching. You put this plow over the curb and move snow out of the way so you have storage for the next event. And so if you put in things like fire hydrants or bollards or streetlights close to the back of the curb, the maintenance people can't do that work. So you may relocate a line of poles, a line of bollards, some other obstacle that's in the way, benches in a downtown, things like that can even get in the way. And so those things can be adjusted, but moving the curbs, changing the width of the lanes, much easier to do when you're doing it on paper.
Sure. So if there's a new public works project and we're starting to do this winter maintenance consideration in the planning phase, who is getting involved in that design, or who is responsible for knowing this winter maintenance information?
Well, in most cases right now, nobody's responsible for it. If you look at a set of plans, there are cross sections, there are typical sections, there are plan and profile sheets, there's electrical design sheets, there's all kinds of sheets in that plan, but there's nothing that's a maintenance design. So the designer may not think of that as one of their responsibilities. So we're trying with this session that we're having on Wednesday and with all the work that we're doing in our winter maintenance subcommittee, trying to get designers and maintainers talking to each other more to figure out who's going to take responsibility for that and to start getting some of these details considered more in plans.
So now you just mentioned that you're doing a session, and that session is on Wednesday, August 29th at 9:30 a.m. for everyone who is here in Anaheim. And for everyone who's joining us from home, this is the only time that you have with Ben Jordan to ask questions about considering winter maintenance and transportation design. So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you want to share a success story, feel free to do so via that Q&A button that you see at the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Now, on Wednesday, you are going to be talking about this same topic, considering winter maintenance and transportation design. What prompted you to put together this presentation?
Well, the folks on the winter maintenance subcommittee are all involved in the maintenance end of this operation, and we've experienced a lot of issues and concerns, and we wanted to start that dialogue about these issues, because it's not something where you can go to one book and find all the answers on how to deal with winter maintenance design details. It's really the kind of knowledge that's just in people's heads, and so you have to connect to the right person. And so we're trying to get that discussion started so we can get more things down on paper and get more information out there that's readily accessible to everyone.
Where does the conversation begin? I mean, what is the first point that needs to be addressed in the public works sector?
Well, the first point that needs to be addressed is just having the designer understand how the winter maintenance operation works, what equipment is used, what dimensions do you need on a road for that equipment to go through the road. And then we need to look at things like design details for drainage, because one of the things that happens is water melts and then refreezes on roads even after a storm, which is very hard to deal with. And some of the things we're doing now with best management practices for stormwater used to be that we'd have water running off the road pretty quickly. Now water is hanging around more because we want it to stay on the road or near the road and improve the water quality by going through ditches and swales. But sometimes in the winter that doesn't function well. So looking at those kind of details, figuring out how we can design those details so they work well from an environmental standpoint, but they still don't cause questions and problems from the winter maintenance standpoint.
Okay, when you think of problems with winter, I think of snow, I think of ice, and I think of cool temperatures. But what other problems is the public works community dealing with besides those three?
Well, those are some pretty big problems right there.
Okay, good point.
Wind and blowing and drifting snow is a real problem. And there are some things in the design of a road that you can do to address that. I think everybody has seen out in an open area, the maintenance people put snow fences up to try to knock snow down. You knock it out of the wind and you deposit it on the ground before it lands on the road. There are some things you can accidentally do in a design of a road that will cause snow to accumulate more on the road. If you put a row of landscaping fairly close to the road, or you put a sound wall close to the road, it can have an effect of knocking that snow out of the wind stream and depositing it onto the pavement if it's in the wrong location. And so wind can be a very big issue as well.
So we've got snow, ice, wind, low temperatures. Anything else?
No, I think that pretty much takes care of it.
And that's winter, and that causes all the problems, of many of which there are, especially depending, geographically. So let us know what kind of problems you're combating, or let us know what kind of questions that we can answer via that Q&A button that you see at the lower left-hand corner of your screen. And it looks like we actually do have a question. What's up, Dana?
Thank you. We have a question about money. How would you suggest that people track, or how can they best understand how much money they could be saving by looking at these types of things in the design process?
Well, the first thing you have to do is make sure that you're doing a good job of tracking your winter maintenance costs in the first place. Many agencies don't do a very good job of job costing winter maintenance. So you need to know how much you're spending now as a baseline. You could look at some of these improvements that you've made on particular projects, adjustments to the design, compare your costs before and your cost after. One of the challenges, though, with doing that is winter is so variable. Some winters you have, some places you don't have any snow at all. But even in our part of the country, I might have a winter where I have 30 inches of snow. I might have another winter where I have 100 inches of snow. So how do I tell after one season if the improvement that I made or the change in design details that I made actually had an impact? So you really need to look at it over a series of several years. So you average out the winners, and also then you've made those changes over several different projects, and you can start getting a feel for the savings that resulted from it.
So for someone who is starting to get a feel for why they need to implement this winter maintenance design into their public works projects, what are like 3 quick, easy, cost-effective things to start with doing?
Well,
like if someone came to you and says, I've never done this before, where do I begin?
All right. One of the things we talked about is eliminating those obstacles adjacent to the road. Moving things back, giving the maintenance operator a buffer on the side of the road where they can operate equipment and can store snow. That will help a great deal. With new design projects, having that communication with the maintenance people, making sure that you don't commit mistakes to concrete and to asphalt, but just that they're done in ink on a piece of paper, and you have that discussion and you set up a design review with your maintenance staff. And it's not just necessarily winter. There are issues in maintenance in the summer that may be addressed with that design review. But so having a good process for reviewing the design with your maintenance staff is very helpful.
Okay. So now, you commented before that there are all these different tools and resources. They're not all in one book. If anyone would like to receive some more information on winter maintenance and transportation design, where are some places that you would recommend they visit? Either a website or a book or a community or something affiliated with APWA?
Well, the Winter Maintenance Subcommittee for APWA has a page on the website, and there are good connections to people and to resources there. There's a Cold Regions Research Lab that is an Army Corps of Engineers facility that has a good website with some research on cold weather issues. And then after that, it's just dialoguing with other people locally, maintenance people talking to designers and engineers, and figuring out what works well for your particular climate, for the equipment you have, for the road cross sections you have. And so some of it's going to be working locally with the resources you have locally.
Well, and coming to your session on Wednesday, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, for all of you in Anaheim, Ben's session, Consider Winter Maintenance in Transportation Design, will be this Wednesday, which is the 29th of August at 9:30 a.m. right here in the Anaheim Convention Center. And for everyone who's joining us from home, we only have a few more minutes with Ben, so be sure to submit any questions that you have or any tips or tricks that you have found in your own community that you would like to share with the group via that Q&A button that you see at the lower left-hand corner of your screen. And remember, APWA is on Twitter, so be sure to join in that conversation at hashtag APWA Expo. All right, Ben, why are you excited to do your session on Wednesday about winter maintenance and transportation design? Why is this so important to you?
Because we have an opportunity to have an impact on the efficiency of the winter operations, the safety that's going to be experienced out there for the driver on the road. So it's because it's not just about us saving money on maintenance or being able to complete our maintenance tasks quicker. It's about making the road safer for the public. So anything we can do to improve design details, improve the dialogue between the designer and the maintenance person, and have an effect on safety for the motoring public in the winter, that's what I'm really excited about.
Wonderful. And we're so excited that you were able to spend some time with us here. Thank you so very much, Ben Jordan. And for more information about considering winter maintenance and transportation design, as Ben mentioned, be sure to visit apwa.net. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for today. Thank you so very much for joining us as we had 6 very in-depth, solution-oriented conversations. But wait, there's more. We'll be back tomorrow starting at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time with the APWA opening ceremony. Now, immediately following that at 8:30 a.m. is the keynote presentation by Jamie Clark entitled Above All Else, The Power of Passion. Now, we have 4 more dedicated solution-oriented conversations tomorrow starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And we're going to speak about green infrastructure, scrap tire rubber, recycled glass, and the Joplin tornado. Be sure to get involved in APWA's conversation on Twitter via that hashtag APWA Expo. And remember, that chat button at the lower left-hand corner of your screen is for you. That's your opportunity to chat amongst yourself, to submit questions of your peers, to shake a hand, to pass a business card, and to let everybody know why you are proud to be a member of APWA and why you're joining us here at the 2012 APWA Congress and Exposition, coming to you live from Anaheim, California, from the Expo floor. I'm Emily Barta. Have a great night. We'll see you back here at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow.